Girl, I have to tell you about this experience I had last Saturday. I have never been so embarrassed at a wedding in my entire life. So I get to this venue, I pull in and I see that there's like only a really small parking lot at the front of the venue, and I'm like, okay, I need to drive around to a larger parking area and unload all my stuff there because I didn't want to take up the small parking lot. There were like 3 spots in this tiny parking lot, so I was like, no, I'm gonna drive around to the back and see if I can find more parking, and then, I'll just walk. I'm not gonna take the spots from somebody who might actually need it. And then once I started getting around to the back of the venue, I was like, wait a minute, I don't see any additional parking back here. I need to turn around. I'm like driving into the ceremony space. Like, I felt like it was like a walking path. I was like, maybe this isn't enough room. Like, there was only space for 1 car to fit through there. And so I was like, maybe I'm not supposed to be driving here. So I start turning my car around, and it is a little gravel driveway, and it's like surrounded by grass. So unfortunately, I did have to like drive onto the grass a little bit. And the wedding like venue owner, I didn't know who she was at the time, but there's a lady in all black standing in the ceremony space, and she starts screaming at me, and I start panicking because I'm just a girl, okay? Like, I can't drive. I'm not very good at it. And I started freaking out because I was just like, there's nowhere else for me to go. I can't back straight up. Like, it's like so thin. Like, I knew I would run into something, and I can't drive forward because there's nowhere for me to park. I have to go back and park in that little tiny parking lot. And she's screaming at me, like telling me don't back up, like don't drive on the grass. I'm driving on the grass. I'm having a meltdown. Now thinking back on this, I'm literally cringing because that was so embarrassing, and I was just like, oh my god, like, this woman hates me. And eventually she just like throws her hands up and she's just like, F it. And I was like, okay, I'm really sorry. Like, I'm literally apologizing as I'm backing up. I'm like, I'm so sorry, like, there's nowhere else for me to go. And not once did she try to encourage me to go straight. Not once did she try to encourage me to keep going where there were more parking spots. I just couldn't see them, so I assumed that I just went the wrong way. So I backed up, I go park in the front of the building, I unload all my stuff, and I go to the bridal suite to get started doing my job. I'm a makeup artist. So I start unloading all of my stuff out of the car. I'm literally shaking and on the verge of tears because I just hate stuff like that. It just makes me so uncomfortable, and I just like always feel really nervous going somewhere I've never been before. There were no signs, there wasn't like any way for me to know that there was additional parking. I thought I was going the totally wrong direction, and I was like, I need to turn around because I'm driving into the ceremony space right now, and I don't see any additional parking. I don't see a sign that says more parking, like nothing like that. So anyway, I go start unloading my stuff. I go upstairs, get set up in the bridal suite, and start doing makeup. And at some point, my bride and I have a conversation about how this venue owner has made wedding planning literal hell for her the entire time she's been planning her wedding. And I'm like, okay, so it's not just me. Having a super embarrassing interaction like that right before I got started doing my job made me so nervous all day. I was just like, oh my god, this woman hates me. I'm literally never gonna be able to come back to this venue. Now I kind of hope that I never get asked to come back because my experience after that did not get any better. So I'm in the middle of doing some of the bridesmaids, and I'm actually taking a little break sitting down in my chair, kind of in a back corner of the room, just kind of out of the way, waiting on, I think the mother of the groom was next on my timeline, so I was just waiting on her to arrive, and in comes the owner again, and I'm like, oh my god, who's about to get blessed out? So she starts like talking about a black SUV. She's like, there's a black Ford SUV parked in the front. And I'm like waiting on more information. I don't say anything. And she's like, there's a black SUV parked in the front. It's a Ford SUV. And I was like, is it a Bronco? And she was like, I don't know what it is. And I was like, okay, sorry. I was like, if it's a Bronco, that's me. And she's like, why are you parked there? And I was like, I'm doing makeup, so it was just an easy spot for me to unload. I can move if I need to. And she was like, you can't park there. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, like I didn't know that. I can move. And she's like, are you a bridesmaid? And I was like, no, I'm doing makeup. I'm a vendor. I work here. Well, if you're a bridesmaid, you can't be parked there. And I'm like, I'm not a bridesmaid. I'm working. And she's like, oh, well, your car needs to be moved before the ceremony starts. And some people might not know this. It's not common sense to everyone, but in the wedding industry, most people know that the hair and makeup artists leave way before the ceremony starts. Like, I'm leaving at 2 o'clock. The ceremony doesn't start until like 5. And that's pretty standard. I do that at almost every wedding ever. I'm never there when the ceremony starts. It's like, okay, no big deal. I'll be gone way before the ceremony starts. Like, it's fine. What's worse is that it was just so embarrassing because it was in front of everybody, like the entire bridal party. And I was just like, please stop yelling at me. Like, I already am scared of you. Please stop talking to me. While I loved my bride and the bridal party was incredible, and they were all so sweet about it. They're like, we're so sorry, like, she's kind of an asshole, like, it is what it is. I was so ready to leave. By the time I got out of there, I was like, oh my god, so much anxiety. Which, again, I know I messed up by driving on the grass, but I just, like, the way she was talking to me, oh my god, it made me feel so embarrassed. I don't interact with the venue owner, like, ever, but every time that I do, it's always a pleasant experience, and I felt like this woman was just, like, not happy to be there. Like, there were times when she was yelling at the bridal party for things, and I was just like, why are you in this industry if you, like, aren't happy to be a part of today? Like, I just don't get it. Like, why are you even here? So I hope I never have to go back, but if I do, I hope I don't ever have to interact with that woman ever again, because it was terrifying, but we survived. Anyway, that is my story of the day. It is currently 6:18 in the morning, and it's time for me to go do a wedding. And fingers crossed, nobody yells at me today. Bye!